Oh,
And there
we're
we are.
live.
We're live. Hey,
Hello.
we have people watching. This is fun. Good
That's
for us.
exciting.
All right. So, we got wind earlier. Bob Weir posted a picture with Peter and Rick on stage with them. So we kind of knew that there was going to be guests tonight, but we ended up with a first set that had Kenny Brooks in it, and also Dred Scott came out, played keyboard. Kenny Brooks is the sax player from Rat Dog. He
Hmm.
sat in for a few songs, and we have Ryan with us. How we doing, Ryan?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me again. Good to be back.
Yes. So, what'd you think overall?
I thought it was great. I'm very happy I was able to catch tonight. I wasn't able to watch any of the other three shows. I had prior engagements. But I really, really like this Wolf Brothers lineup. Obviously just a lot of solid musicians on stage. I think Cementi and I want to say it's Barry Sless on pedal
Barry
steel.
Sless, yes, it is.
Cementi and Barry are like excellent additions to the sound. Really, really fill out the sound, and obviously the Don Was J Lane rhythm section is excellent. The Wolf Pack is great. Love to hear these guys together. I think, especially building a band around Bobby and Bobby's playing and tone and stuff. I think this worked really well. And so,
Don was did good job there. I think he had something to do coordinating the horns and the strings that happened to be along there. Barry Sless, let me tell you, when I was 15, there used to be a place called the 15 Mile House, and it was 15 miles from Baltimore in Owings Mills, Maryland. And on Tuesday or Wednesday nights, this band Section 8 would play that had Mookie Siegel, who played with Rat Dog at one time on keyboards, and Barry Sless was the lead guitar player.
there we
And
go.
this place was basically, if you could look over the bar, they'd serve you. So we went down there and saw him, and then he went on to David Nelson, and now he traded up to Bob Weir there, which
There
is
we go.
fantastic. So we opened up with Jack Straw, and it's a classic opener for me. There we go with that. What do you? My issue with Jack Straw is the splitting of the lyrics. How do you feel about Bobby's rearranging of some of these lyrics? That other one, Franklin's, where they put a whole vamp of music in between the first and second line.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, talking about Franklin's getting a little ahead, but Jack Straw, I mean, I really liked it. Jay getting a turn to sing on his own, which I hadn't heard before. Obviously, I'm not super well versed in the Bobby projects, if you will. But I really liked it. Again, Cementi standing out to me immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Like his piano work is amazing. Obviously with Dead & Co, he's got the B3, he's got some synths happening. Here he's just got his piano and he's got his vintage vibe.
Right,
Like
two keyboards, right? That
very,
was it.
very, very minimal setup. I love that they tour with the full grand piano. Obviously it has a sound that like a Nord or something like that can't match. And Cementi's like, jazzy style of playing really, really works with this.
Do you think they tour with the grand piano, or they tell the venue you need to have a grand piano on stage for us?
It looks like they tour with it. It looks like, just at least the pictures that I see regularly, it looks like it's the same piano every time. I'm assuming it's the same one that he tours with Dead & Co.
Right. I hear you. All right. So we got Jack Straw, we got Minglewood. Minglewood is my favorite of the blues tunes. I'd rather that or a walking blues or so I'll take that. It's again, if we want to get into it, a couple of these songs in the first set are a little sexist. But
do we want to get into that?
No, we don't want to get into that because she belongs to me. Now, are you a Dylan guy? I don't think we've ever talked about Dylan.
I mean, obviously, Bob Dylan is not one of the four artists I'm in the habit of listening to frequently, but I love Bob Dylan.
Right, a great songwriter. Bobby does a bunch of Dylan tunes, and he picked this one. He's doing this one that Jerry used to sing when the Dead did it, and I wish that he would pick something else.
I liked it.
You liked it. Well, that's fair enough. A lot of people did, I think.
I had a good
I
time.
can be wrong. Brown Eyed Women next, which is
Always a great song.
always best of the Europe 72 Jerry tunes that still exist.
Yes.
And so we'll run through. All right, Loose Lucy. Loose Lucy is another song that we could get in trouble with.
But I
my
really like this song.
It is. And the sax is so perfect on it. And
The
that was
sax,
Kenny
yes.
Brooks.
Yes, it worked so well. I did say to you, I messaged you, when they were playing this. I personally prefer like the more up tempo, like 1974 arrangement. There's one on Dick's Picks 32, I want to say, whichever the one, early August 1974. Great version, nice and peppy.
Yes.
But I really like this song.
I do. It's a good one. I was there in '90 when the Dead broke it out, and the Cap Center erupted when they did that. It was one of those moments where the crowd was louder than the band.
Love it.
When they started it, it was great. It was a good night. All right, so then we get into the Rat Dog song, Tu Jin, which is was that your first time, or you just were not?
I had never heard this song before. I haven't really listened to much Rat Dog, but I really like this.
Right, the Evening Moods album. Take a spin through it. It has
It's no Bobby
Bury
in
Me
the
Standing and good. I liked it. It has it's like a continuation of the whole Misfit Power thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it has some F words in it. He drops the F bomb a few times.
Wow.
Hey, you got to if you're that. And he had Kenny Brooks out there, which I said was Rat Dog. They got a lot of traction with that one with Rat Dog. And then Karina, a Dead tune that doesn't show up with Dead and Company, doesn't show up much with this configuration, but was big with Rat Dog. Smooth transition.
Yeah, it was great. I like this segment, and then New Speedway's never a bad song to play at any time.
Never a bad song. That was one of those great lost songs that they broke out whenever that was, 91, I guess.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, why did you not play this for 20 years?
Well, it was written about Altamont.
Yeah.
And them getting blamed for the Hells Angels killing that dude. So it was kind of Hunter like, fuck you, quit talking shit about us. And
like they played it a bunch in 70, right? And
then Garcia's like, I don't want to go there.
We'll play it in 20 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna step back. All right, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Subscribing is the greatest thing you can do, and leave some comments if you're watching it afterwards. If you're out there, I do see you people talking, but it's just me and Ryan, so I'm not pulling things up necessarily. But thank you all for commenting. We see your comments. All right, so then we got into the meat of it. Why you and I are getting together, basically. We got another Peggy L. Go run with it.
I think this was it felt a bit better than the one that did it playing in the sand. Obviously that was the first time Rick and Bobby were playing on stage together. So obviously it was going to be a bit, tense, I think. At least on Rick's part, there's a lot of focus on him in that moment, right? And it felt tonight that he was much more prepared. I think also the mix was better tonight. You could hear their guitars more like they were a bit more balanced. I thought this was phenomenal. Great trading of the lyrics. They both were just enjoying playing with each other, which, makes me really, really happy because, thinking about it, 3 years ago at this time, Goose was opening for Pigeons playing ping pong.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like they're on tour on the West Coast opening for Pigeons. And, fast forward 3 years.
Rick's got a second date with Bobby.
Exactly. They got,
and he's had a couple with Phil.
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing that they got invited to playing in the sand for a second time, and they headlined tonight, which was amazing. And Bobby sat in, but I think it's another level to be invited to sit in with Bobby and Wolf Bros. Rick and Peter. Right. It shows that Bobby really felt that there was a connection, like a musical connection with them when he played with them in January. So that's really, really cool.
Do you think that this is due to good management? As much
it could
as
be.
Anything?
I'm sure management is involved.
Making the right calls, having the right friends.
But also you can't, I don't think Bobby's an artist that completely defers to management on things like this. You know, he's
Right.
not just going to be like, okay, well, you say I should play with Rick, so I'm going to play
Right.
with Rick again.
I was thinking earlier about how forever Bobby didn't show up anywhere. Bobby didn't guest. He played with the Radiators once in 95 or 96, and it was this huge thing that Bob Weir showed up and played with another band.
Yeah.
Now Bobby's kind of like, hey, what's up? I'll come hang out with you. I'll come hang out over there.
Yeah. It was also cool. He pronounced Rick's last name correctly on the first try.
Mitochondria, right?
Yeah, exactly. So suck on that, Phil.
Yeah, well, Phil's Phil. All right, so and then everybody. So me and my uncle had Kenny Brooks didn't come out. It was Peter. That was Peter got his first chance to come out.
No, was Peter out for me and my uncle? I didn't
Maybe
think
he
came
wasn't
out until Franklin's.
Then he didn't go. Okay, so Peter wasn't out yet. We got Scarlet and we got Estimated, 2 heavyweights from the Dead catalog.
They were great.
Yeah, they tightened it up. Everybody was gone. It was just the band. They got into their groove a little bit. I think that I don't even think Kenny Brook came out for Estimated with that. So, which was interesting to me because the sax solo, is kind of famous there. But that was fun. Then we get back into the meat of it with Franklin's,
and there was no fanfare either. Like Estimated kind of led into the opening of Franklin's, and it's like, oh, suddenly Rick and Peter are on stage.
Right.
Okay. And Rick got to sing some Franklin's. Like, it was great.
I was wondering if they were going to give Pete one too, if they were going to like send it around, let everybody sing a verse.
Yeah, you know what? My main complaint about tonight is that on the webcast, I could not hear a thing Peter was playing.
Yeah, I don't think he did much. I think he was sitting there smiling, just like, of course.
He was playing. Like, the camera would pan to him all the time. You could tell he's playing, but I couldn't really hear it.
And he was playing the vibraphone. Yes. Yeah, the vintage 5.
Yes.
So maybe he wasn't in the mix.
Well, during the first set when Clementi was playing the vibe on like Loose Lucy and stuff, you could hear it. So
maybe it was because if you have 2 keyboards, don't you have to like click a button in order to hear one or the other or hear both of them?
No, they've got multiple outputs for them. Like, what if Clementi decides to play both?
Switches over, right.
Yeah,
I know Garcia his vocals wouldn't come on sometimes because they didn't push the button. He'd start singing a song.
It is possible that was a thing. Like, obviously there are like bypasses or whatever that people will
back
do.
in the olden times.
Yeah,
when they had monitors still and things like that.
Yes.
So, and then we went into probably for me the meat of the show was the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Really fantastic. I thought Rick found some nice spaces in it. They allowed it to open up a little bit.
Yeah, great jam. I like, I think we talked about this in January when we were talking about a Dead & Co show, but it's interesting comparing like the balls to the walls, kind of what you think of when you think of the other one versus this kind of slower take on it. And it's like, obviously there's more space because it's slower and it gets more out there, a little more psychedelic. This was great, great stuff.
Do you think it's hard? Do you think it's harder when you're Bob Weir, you got a 5-piece band, and then you add this 2 strings and the 3 horns, and then you bring out Jeff, and then you bring out Rick? Does that diminish the potential to have those out there jams because the horns are scripted and you have the extra people and you want everybody to have a certain amount of time?
I think the horns didn't seem super scripted during the jam, and at least, if they have specific little horn parts that they throw in, I think, you're playing with Bob Weir, so you have to be ready for a certain amount of improvisation. The band might go off into a thing. There was one song where the horns left the stage either in the first or second set. I don't remember.
I think that it was for Dear Prudence, the next song.
Okay.
We had the 5-piece for Dear Prudence.
Got it. But also, Bobby usually plays with a lead guitarist, like in Dead & Co and stuff. So, playing with Rick is not a new thing.
Right. Now, Barry's the lead guitarist by proxy, even though he's playing the pedal steel. What do you make of that? Do you like that?
I mean, I think for what they're playing with Wolf Brothers, I think the pedal steel fits perfectly.
Totally works.
You know,
And
like
some of the songs, like Wheel last night, you didn't. I don't know if you heard Wheel, but
I did not, but
Wheels, because the original album has the pedal steel. Garcia liked the pedal steel. I think it's a nice nod there. Yes,
yeah,
came to play. Dear Prudence, we did hear a little bit of that in Franklin's. Our friend the Grand Master mentioned that.
yes, she was very excited.
She was very excited. And then we got the 5-piece Dear Prudence with just the 5 of them, which I really liked. And then the whole Terrapin Station suite,
Love the
which
suite.
is, yeah, it's fantastic. I love the While You Were Gone, the Space is Filled with Darkness part. I always wanted Garcia to sing that. Good way to end the set. I think did everybody come back out? Was Rick back out for that?
For Terrapin?
No, they didn't come back out.
No, they did not.
The
I
Encore.
wish.
Right. Rick was on both songs of the Encore, right?
Correct. Yeah, Rick was on both. Peter just on the last one.
Right. That man, I tell you, Peter, I love that guy.
He's so
he has
excited.
the most fun of anybody. He's smiling. He's just like, this is the greatest thing ever.
You know, speaking of Peter, I hear he's going to be on a really cool Goose podcast on Thursday.
I heard that. How did you score that? How'd you land that?
You
know people.
You got to know people. You got to ask. You know, we're very excited. We're going to talk about the bracket with him.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Does he pay attention? Does he like? Do you think he'll have? Okay.
Oh, he's ready. He actually submitted rankings to help seed the bracket.
Where did he have the best show of last year ranked?
He didn't do shows. But I'm not at liberty to discuss his rankings.
Until Thursday.
Private matter.
Oh, maybe Thursday we'll hear, because that 3-1-22 show for Goose. If anybody's not into Goose, 3-1-22.
Yes,
check it out. Best show last year.
The show that Kev was at, I was there too. It's my favorite attended Goose show.
It was fantastic.
If you didn't know that, then you clearly don't follow me.
Right, you don't follow. And Ryan is Rye Storm over there on the internet thing.
Anyway, that's a.
Sorry, I thought I was playing the outro music.
Well, we didn't talk about the Encore yet.
Let's talk about the Encore.
Okay,
it was Brokedown Palace.
Brokedown was amazing. I'm like 90% sure I saw tears in Rick's eyes. They may have been the tears in my own eyes.
I know they did a few dead tunes. Was Goose? Do you think they were deadheads, or are they too young?
No, they are definitely deadheads. You know, obviously they have a few dead tunes in the repertoire, like Half Step. They play a ton.
The most feeble of all tunes.
What?
I hate Half Step. It's like the weakest of the Grateful Dead records.
Okay, but their Half Step is amazing.
Yeah, they do it for a long time.
Yes, and it's amazing.
They love it.
They've done One More Saturday Night a few times, not since the end of 2021.
I thought we were getting Love Light. I thought we'd get a Love Light.
Love Light's one that they do fairly frequently. Yeah. Peggy-O occasionally, once or twice a year. Like, so they have dead tunes in the repertoire. Obviously, they're
missed opportunity with a Simple Twist. Isn't that the one they did with Oberlo or Shelter from the Storm? Which one of those?
Oh, they did Shelter from the Storm.
Shelter from the Storm, not Simple Twist.
Yeah, with Arabelo. Yeah, and they do more dead tunes with Arabelo. They do Tennessee Jed, U.S. Blues. They do Broke Down more regularly. If you're watching this and you don't know about Arabelo, go listen to Arabelo.
We can barely pronounce their name.
It's a time made of minerals. Arabelo.
Yeah. You know Elvis Costello?
Yes.
Well, last night he broke out Dupree's Diamond Blues.
Oh.
Yes. He's doing an acoustic 10-show run where he's playing 20 different songs every night. He announces 10 ahead of time that he's going to play, and then he plays another 10 that he doesn't tell you. So it's his own little baker's dozen. It's only 10.
Solid.
All right. So we got the Encore. There we go. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to try to play us out. Like, subscribe, go find Ryan. He's got the storm brewing over there on the other side.
Yes.
Where is it? Come on. There it is. Dance pop. See ya.